everybody, and welcome back to the stream. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's time for Jump Around, our weekly cardio class. And, yeah, I could probably use an energy pick-me-up right now. Hi, everybody. Hi. How's everybody doing? I feel like this week I'm just worried about everyone. You know, some people because they're waiting on COVID test results, and some people because their mental health has been negatively impacted by the flaming trash fire that is 2020. Hi, Steve. Good to see you. See you. Good to see you in chat. And just... It's hard, friends. You know, when you don't know how best to care for all the people that you love, and when everybody, including you, is going through just the ringer this year in a lot of ways, I definitely frequently find myself just saying randomly to myself, I am exhausted. Because frequently I am. I'm just sort of mentally exhausted. Not physically. It's not like I'm not getting enough sleep, because I am. But there are just so many factors, so many balancing acts for health and safety, and just so many people who are teetering on the edge of a lot of things and trying to help keep everybody safe is it's an endeavor this year, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, I currently doing the dance of, somebody I know has had like a very slight sore throat for the last couple of days, no other symptoms. Is it COVID? Is it just a freaking sore throat? Who knows? What do we do? Guess we get a test and then try and quarantine? I don't know. My friends, this has been a hell of a year. And if you've been quarantining to the best of your ability, thank you. If you've been wearing your mask every time you leave the house, thank you. And if you haven't, look, I'm not going to beat around the bush. We're 8-9 months into this. There is absolutely no excuse to be forgetting your mask. There's no excuse for walking out of your house without a mask anymore. There just isn't. We are so far into this, and we are making it worse through our own carelessness and refusal to be even slightly inconvenienced on behalf of the better good, of the greater good. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of seeing people, go into coffee shops and be like, oh, sorry, I totally forgot my mask. Is this okay? No. Wear your mask every time you leave the house. I don't care if you just thought you were going for a walk. I don't care if you thought you were going to be in your car the whole time. Wear a mask every time you leave the house. Okay? People are dying who did not have to be dying. And I am just so tired of all of it. You forgot your pants? I don't care. You're in your bedroom. What? You're quoting something I know, and I'm so tired, and I don't know what it is. Oh, my friends. Yeah. So today we're here and taking care of ourselves, and that's good. And my recommendation, my gentle homework assignment to everybody when we're done with stream is to reach out to somebody. Reach out to somebody in your life and check in on them. And just, let's do our best to keep our community together. Oh, yeah, no, that's fair. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, at this point it is basically that equivalent. Um it's like no, no. Anyway. Ah. Ah. See, I'm feeling all the things. You can tell that I'm feeling all the things. But you know what? We're going to do class anyway. And we're going to remind ourselves that the most important thing is that we're here. And if our success criteria for class is just, hey, I kept going the whole time, then that's fantastic. And if you get started on class and you discover that you have more energy that you didn't know was in there, then that's awesome too. Yeah, I think it's time to get going because I am tired, my friends, and I need this pick me up, and I'm willing to bet that some of you do too. So let's see if my speaker has been not charging for several days, and I don't understand why, and it appears to be charging now, but we'll see. So if it turns off in the middle of class, we'll just do what we used to do and have the phone close by, but turn that on and keep our fingers crossed that it keeps going the whole time. Today's going to be an improv class. I did that last night and it was really fun and helped to reinvigorate me somewhat. So we're going to try it again. So what's today's class going to look like? Who knows? It's whatever comes out of my devious brain here. So, mwahaha, mwahaha. All right, let's do our pre-class checklist, my friends. Make sure you've got your water. Let me tell you, water is important. And when we're going through all of the stuff, mentally, physically, what have you, it makes it easier for us to forget to drink water. So make sure you have your water. Make sure you are drinking it throughout class. And when you're done with class, make sure you refill it and drink another one. Okay? Important. We got our comfy clothes on. Whatever that is to you, we've got our mats or our mat-sized space on the floor, and we have if our fitness wearables. If that is something you use, then get that going on high-intensity interval training, and we will go from there. All right, you know what? Everybody, just sit for 1 second, because I know my brain feels all over the place. So let's sit and let us take a deep breath. Try and center ourselves right here. So here we go. And then another one. And one more. All right. All right. We're here. We're dressed. We're watered up. We're ready to go. Whatever class looks like, you're here and you're doing it, and that's awesome. And that's all you should be worried about. So, let's kick off. No, Trello is definitely not going to be helpful in this particular endeavor. Let's get going with the warm-up. So, everybody, on your mats, on your backs, 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee. And once the timer goes off, we will begin with our hip rocks and bridges. Always fun. Oh, that was loud, but hopefully it means you can hear it, which is obviously the goal. Oh man, I started doing some of my smaller PT exercises again today for my shoulder, realizing that was something simple that I could start doing, in lieu of actually getting back into the chiropractor. The problem is that a lot of those exercises require equipment that I don't have at home, so I can't do everything quite yet. But I'm going to see if I can find some resistance bands, because those should be relatively easy to pick up. And if I can get myself another pair of those, then I should be good to do most of the PT exercises that I had been doing previously, and it did feel nice, you know. I think it is a smart thing to go back to doing, especially considering how activated and frustrated my shoulder has been, and it's, you know, not perfect. I obviously would rather get into the chiropractor and have an actual visit, maybe get some rock tape on there again. But, you know, again, we're having to be pretty creative this year in terms of how we take care of ourselves. And so maybe what I have to do right now, until it feels a little safer to try for a chiropractor appointment, is just do what PT exercises I can, and taking a leave or two when my symptoms flare up particularly badly. So here's hoping that helps. You know, we've talked a lot about how stress frequently will manifest physically and can exacerbate other physical issues that are going on. So if you have a chronic injury state or a chronic pain illness, you know, and you are also stressed out, frequently that will manifest physically as increased symptoms. And it has been that way for my entire life, absolutely. And I've definitely been feeling it the last few weeks, you know. Just November was such an insane month and kicked off in such a dramatic and pretty awful fashion. And I think it took my body a couple of weeks to get caught up to how much stress I was feeling, particularly in that first week of November. But yeah, it definitely feels like I'm still getting cascading of impacts from that. So taking time, even just small chunks of time scattered throughout the day, to sit down and do a few shoulder and neck stretches that will hopefully help me to iron some of this out. And you know, even if it doesn't have all the impact I hope, it's still a good reminder to just let myself sort of sit down and be present every once in a while. You know, it's a thing about this sort of constant state of panic emotions, basically, and constant wondering what other shoe is going to drop next, means that I, and I'm sure some of you as well, have definitely fallen into big runs of just, I'm going to throw a bunch of YouTube videos on that I've watched a million times before because I cannot think about taking in new media right now. I'm going to play a game that I've already sunk 400 hours into because I don't have the energy to try something new, you know, all of those things. And they're all, there's nothing inherently negative about doing that. Sometimes we need a break, and sometimes we want that break to be with something comfortable and something familiar. And there's nothing inherently negative about that. But it can start to impact us negatively if we fall into those habits without really paying attention to them. And that's definitely something that I fall into. So having a reason to pull myself away and very put down everything and say, all right, I am just going to I'm going to sit here and stretch out my neck and shoulders for just a minute or two, you know. It's not like any of the exercises I've been doing take a ton of time. So, you know, it's not like I'm pulling away for a full hour or anything, but even just those few minutes can help to recenter us and to pull us back into a little bit of a more grounded place. And that is something that I think many of us can use some help on right now. So, you know, maybe you have PT exercises or some sort of chronic injury state, and maybe you can use this time as a reason to go, okay, let's use the time that I need to spend doing these exercises as a time to really just sort of center in on being where I am and doing what I'm doing. Maybe you have a nice stretching sequence that you like to do, and you can use that as something that you turn to when you start to feel yourself falling into those mindless, repetitive loops of, you know, taking in content without actually taking in content. Just trying to find moments where we can anchor ourselves to where we are and what we're doing can be really, really helpful. And you know, particularly right now where so much of our lives have to be lived through our computers, because we're not able to work in an office, we're not able to go and socialize in person, so we're having to do all of this stuff through our computers and not really being able to be focused on, here I am in my living room. It can be really helpful to have those moments to just sit back and be like, all right, here I am, and I'm just sitting here stretching out my neck for 30 seconds and not worrying about doing anything else. So it was a nice addition to my day so far, and you know, it's definitely something that I will continue, if only to support my shoulder a little bit better and hopefully get it to calm down a bit. Oh man, we'll see. When it flared up super badly last year, I had to go on a 2-week Aleve course that my doctor told me to do, where I was taking, you know, 2 Aleve doses twice a day, I think, something like that. And I would love to not have to do that again, but, you know, I may have to do that again. Who knows? Who knows? Oh man, here we are doing our nice big torso rotations. And this is an opportunity. Here we go. Being present in our bodies and just sort of tracing large shapes through space. All right. I am tracing a giant circle through space using my entire torso and my arms. And just take a second to really feel what that feels like. We do not move our torsos around a lot like that, all right? So take that opportunity to check in and just be like, whoo, this is a lot of full body motion before we go into our squats, checking in on our form, making sure those knees are going straight over the feet and that you're holding your arms and your imaginary PVC pipe nicely above your head. Here we go. Oh, all right. Settling in, and again, reminding ourselves that whatever our success criteria is for today, that is awesome, you know? And sometimes when we come to class and we're feeling a little stretched out, stretched thin, we may, over the course of the warm-up, start to feel a little energy coming back, you know? As our muscle fibers turn on those energy production systems, start breaking down those fuel sources. That does, it gives our bodies a new burst of energy because they're like, oh, well, we're about to exercise, so I need to make sure that I've got all of that energy available to me for exercise. And so that's why sometimes, you know, it takes us a while to drag ourselves onto the mat or in front of the computer for class, but then once we get moving, we go, oh, there's that energy that I was struggling to find all day. But sometimes that doesn't happen, you know? Sometimes we can make it all the way through class and still feel, you know, a little disconnected, a little exhausted and overwhelmed. And so, and on days like that, sometimes our goal then just switches to, I'd like to make it through class. I'd like to move for as much of class as I can. And again, perfect is the enemy of good. So, you know, maybe you get to class and you go through the warm-up and you get to the end of the warm-up and you're like, I don't have the energy in me to keep going. Well, you know what? You did more than nothing, and that's something. You know, this warm-up's no joke. It hits every part of our body. You know, it takes us through a really nice sequence of movements, of booting up systems, of getting some active stretching in there for our backs and our hips, getting a little bit of cardio to round everything out. And if that's all you do, and then you're like, I really can't keep going today, well, you still had a nice 16 minutes of work, and that's more than nothing, and you should be proud of that, all right? So just keep that in mind. You know, we frequently forget to be kind to ourselves and forget that, you know, maybe you weren't able to do the whole thing. Woo! Sorry about that. Let's put that over here because that was bound to happen eventually. Yeah, maybe you weren't able to get through all of class, but you did some of it, and that is huge, you know, and that is, or should be, enough to show yourself that you may feel really down, you may feel like you're really struggling, but you absolutely have all the resources you need to keep going. And if that's all you can focus on today is just keep going, that is still a really awesome thing. All right, you know, we can't always be in thriving mode, and particularly right now with everything that's going on, we are much more frequently in surviving mode, and that is okay, all right, because you are taking care of yourself, you know, feeding, watering, moving your body, and getting enough sleep. If those are the only things that you can focus in on today, you are still succeeding, all right? It's like when we talk to new class students about just focusing on the bare minimum and how even just focusing in there is going to give you a really great workout. All right? And it's the same thing with the rest of our lives. You know, maybe all you have the energy to focus on are those bare minimum components of life. But as if you can do that, then you are already doing a great job, and you should be proud of yourself. All right? Oh, my poor shoulder. Yeah, it is not happy, my friends. All right. How's everybody feeling? Good warm up. A little bit, again, we got some energy moving through our bodies because as part of the boot up sequence, our muscles are like, oh, well, I need to start producing energy to fuel this movement and this exercise. So we should feel already a little bit of a burst of energy that might not have been there right before we started. Make sure you're grabbing some water. All right. Make sure you're rehydrating during class and after class. And keep breathing. Which seems like an obvious thing, but look, breathing's important. Breathing is absolutely important because our muscle fibers need that oxygen to keep breaking down that ATP. All right. Well, like I said, today's an improv class, so let's see here. I think we're gonna probably just do a ton of tabatas, a ton of those cardio sets. Mostly single exercise, I think, too. Yeah, let's just really focus in and see what we can do. So let's start with turtle jumps. So we're just going to roll up on the shoulders, up on the feet. Oh, my hands went down. I wanted to jump and do a turtle wave. We're doing turtle waves. See, sometimes your body figures out what you would rather do. There we go. So up on the shoulders, up on the feet, plant the hands, jump back to that plank, then do a wave push-up, jump the feet forward, and do that whole thing again. All right, so 8 times through. First sound does not mean go. First sound is our stop sound, which is awesome. Gives us some time to rest. That sound means get in position. So as soon as you hear the starting horn, you are immediately going, okay? And make sure that you are stabilizing your shoulders for all of this movement, okay? You are balancing a lot on your hands, which means that you're needing to engage your shoulders. They want to move around really freely, but they cannot do that, all right? They need to be still, strong, and stable so that you can move your body through space without also worrying that they're gonna go all over the place, okay? So just make sure that you are always paying attention to that, all right? Whew. Okay. Third time through? Third? Yes, third. There we go. And the beauty of these 20-second work intervals is that we really get the opportunity to go for some extra speed, all right? Because we're basically doing sprints, right? We're doing sprints. We are just pushing ourselves through a short amount of time, and then we're getting half that time back as rest. So make sure that you are challenging yourself, because with just these 20-second work intervals, you can really challenge yourself, push yourself to go faster, farther, over and over again. All right? And it's Wednesday. We are midway through the week, and it is time for us to really dig in and say, all right, I have the energy that I need to keep going through the rest of the week. Whatever else I'm trying to get done, I can absolutely do. Huzzah! All right. Moving right along. We are well over halfway through, which is awesome. And keep in mind too that because we're only doing 20-second work intervals, you're not going to get a ton of reps in that time, all right? So you may be able to speed it up enough that you can add 1 extra, maybe 2 extra reps, but you're going to pretty quickly hit the ceiling for the number of reps that you can get done, just because of the amount of space that we're moving through and the short amount of time that we have to move, okay? So don't, if you're over there going, God, I'm clearly failing, I'm only getting 3 reps in. No, that is totally normal. That's what I'm doing. I'm getting 3.5 reps in, basically, because that's all I have time for, you know? And that's totally fine. So just be cognizant of what type of exercise we're doing and how likely it is that you would be able to go particularly far above your starting number of reps. Because for most of these, you're gonna pretty quickly hit that ceiling, just because of short amount of time and amount of space that we have to move through. Oh, here we are. Getting that water in. Woo! Oh man, I'm already feeling better though. I'm already feeling better, which is the amazing power of exercise, and it's something I really, really appreciate. And honestly, is another reason why I really appreciate these streams, because it gives me that push to get out there and move my body a little bit. Even on the days when I have to pull back a bit, you know, I still have the opportunity to move around and challenge myself, and that's really awesome. So thank you for helping me with my fitness. All right, let us see here. Oh, I think we're gonna do bicycles next. I'm feeling a little bit of core. I've been really liking the bicycles recently. So we start on our backs, and first I just want you to contract your ab muscles so that it lifts your upper back, your shoulders, your head off of the ground. And that engagement is what's keeping me off the ground, okay? Not trying to pull myself forward with my head or anything like that. So now I do that. I have one knee towards my chest, the other leg fully extended but also fully off the ground. I'm just reaching one elbow to that opposite knee and then switching, and I'm going back and forth, keeping my hands in front of me, so rather than putting them behind the head, so that you're not tempted to be yanking yourself forward on your head, which is obviously not great for you. All right, so here we go. Here we go. You've grabbed that last sip of water, for now anyway. And that's not our starting sound, which is awesome. But that sound means get ready. So we're getting prepped in position, And as soon as we hear the start of that fanfare, we are going, all right? Always remember that as soon as the timer app is on, that timer app is giving you all of the non-negotiable info that you need. So I will not always say anything specific when we need to start doing the next exercise. I won't always key in. I might be in the middle of some longer rant, as I am wont to do. So you need to be listening for that timer and making sure that you are going when it tells you to start and stopping only when it tells you to stop, okay? All right. Woo! Having some core fun. And this is a good exercise to check in and see how your core strength is feeling, okay? Because, you know, there is definitely a way to get through this exercise while trying to compensate with other muscles, you know, pulling yourself forward with your arms or your neck. And you can tell if you've done that because when you get done with the set, you go, oh man, my neck's really hurting right now, or my shoulders are really feeling stiff, but I didn't really feel it in my core. Well, if you didn't feel it in your core, that means you weren't actually using your core, okay? So that is something I try to remind people of a lot, because our ab exercises are really the ones where it is easy to try and compensate with other muscles, you know, because we are aware that we don't have the strength that we need. Whereas when I get done with this, I am very aware of my abs, all right? They are doing all the work right now. They are keeping my shoulders up. They are initiating the rotation movement that allows me to bring one elbow to the opposite knee. They're doing everything, okay? And when I get done, I feel that engagement. And so if you're getting through an exercise, you know, we've all had that experience, right? Where our teacher gives us a new exercise and we try it out and we're like, I didn't feel anything approximating what they told me I would feel. And that could be because you've got more strength built up already. But frequently, it's because you weren't actually using the muscle groups that you should have been using to do the exercise. So before you assume that you're just too strong for that exercise or too flexible for that exercise, check in, try it again, and just see, try and be really aware of what muscles are actually doing the work. You know, I had this with a lot of core exercises actually for a while, because I've always had really strong abs. I mean, I've been a dancer since I was 5, and that tends to be a movement discipline where strong cores are key. But and so I would do these classes, and I'd be like, wow, I'm just not feeling it, you know, because my core is so strong. When I finally actually started really delving in and checking in on my core strength, I realized pretty quickly that no, it wasn't because I was so strong, it was because I wasn't actually using my core as much as I thought I was. And when I really started to hone in on what that should feel like when I am contracting those core muscles the whole time, it just, I am always constantly aware of what my abs are doing, when they're engaged, and when I've let them go and they're not engaged. All right, so check in when you're doing exercises like that and just make sure that you can actually feel the engagement, feel the muscle group that should be working feel that it is working, all right? Okay, let's see here. Let's do some squat jumps, I think, because I want to do some jumping, but I'm definitely, for myself, going to hold back on any of the ones that require a lot of holding our arms above our heads. So we're going to take our feet about a shoulder width distance, all right, and squat down and jump, 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 and jump, okay? Making sure every time you land, those knees go straight over your feet, as usual, as we want for all of these squat-related movements, all right? Here we go, here we go. So that's not our start sound, that's our rest sound, that's our get ready sound. Got our feet in position, and here we go. Just imagine doing this in class, in person with me, and having to do it off of a Bosu ball. It adds a totally different degree of difficulty into the exercise, let me tell you, because you have to include this intensive balance component that we don't have to do when we're just jumping off the floor. So be glad, friends. Oh man, all right. So second time through, again, always check in on your form. Do those little form checks. You know, today's cardio, so we're expending a lot of energy. We're getting tired more quickly, and we want to make sure that no matter what, our form is just as good by our final set as it is in our first. So if I'm doing my fourth set and my knees are starting to cave in, well, then I need to narrow my stance or slow down the jumps or some other modification. But the first step is being aware that it's happening, okay? So, yeah, first step, be aware. I think that is generally a good starting place for just about anything, really. Be aware of what you're doing and how you're doing it, and move from there. Oh man. All right, my friends, we are halfway through, which is super exciting. Doing some good work here. Lots of jumping, lots of heart rate, lots of breathing. Make sure that you are getting that oxygen through your body. And obviously, we're not trying to slow down our breathing while we're actively working, but in a rest period, see how quickly you are able to get your breath back under control, okay? So, all right, I was able to slow my breath down pretty quickly there, okay? And of course, when I start jumping again, it comes right back up. But one of the things that we're practicing in these tabatas is how to bring our heart rate, bring our breathing back under control more quickly, all right? And that's one of the ways that we can tell how much we're improving. That's one of the ways that we can tell that we're improving our cardiovascular system, we're improving our stamina, all of that stuff, all right? You know, it's the difference between the first time you took class when you felt totally wiped out for, you know, days afterwards versus taking class and feeling like you're, totally fine a minute or two after you're done, okay? And you'll get there. You absolutely will. May take some time, will take some time, but you will totally get there. Ooh. I love water. Do I say that enough in class? Fitness Mom says, always drink your water because it's important and it's good for you. And always make sure that you have whatever meal you're going to have after exercise planned out, okay? And maybe that plan is just, I'm going to graze on whatever's in my fridge, and that's fine. That is absolutely planned. But just have that idea, that concept in your head of, okay, I need to refuel after I'm done with class. Ideally, within 30 minutes of finishing class, you should have at least something to eat to start replenishing those glycogen stores, because they take a full 24 hours to replenish, okay? So you want to start that process quickly. So just have an idea, have a plan. Whenever you come into class, be like, all right, I'm going to do class. And when I get out, I am going to have a bowl of the chicken and potatoes dish that I have in my fridge. Or I'm going to grab that burrito that I bought this morning and have that. Or I'm just going to snack on some meat and cheese and bread. Just have an idea in your head so that you will finish class and be like, okay, now it's time to execute on that plan. All right, next we are going to do shrimps. Yeah, I'm adding a lot of core stuff in on our cardio day, and I like it. Gives us an opportunity to really push ourselves. So, shrimps, you know what we're about, moving back and forth along our mats by first rocking our shoulders, then hips, shoulders, then hips, shoulders, then hips. Oh no, I hit the end of the mat. Now I start going back in the other direction, okay? This is another one. Check in, make sure that you actually feel the engagement, the work, the generation of the movement coming from your core, okay? All right, let's get this party started. Woohoo! So, here we go. Well, here we don't go yet. Here we get ready to go. Sorry, apologies if I threw you off just then. Again, remember that your guide to when to start and stop exercises is always that timer and is not me. So, if I am over here going, all right, time to go, but that's the sound you just heard, then it's totally fine to be like, I gotta wait, because I don't think that was actually the time that I was supposed to start going. And in that instance, you would have been totally correct. So, all right. So check in on your shrimps, making sure that you are not moving your hips the full distance that they can go, so your hips are able to make that lateral movement a lot longer than your shoulders can, just because of the way our bodies are designed. And if you're letting your hips travel the full distance they can go, your shoulders are never able to catch up. That's how we end up turning in a circle, okay? So make sure you are matching the distance that you can travel with your shoulders to the distance traveled by your hips, okay? And if you're struggling to figure this dang thing out, if you're like, I just don't understand, start with just really small boat rocks, all right? So contract your abs, and do these small rocks and just think, okay, every time my shoulders come off the floor, I want to move them to the side, and every time my hips come off the floor, I want to move them to the side. You don't have to start doing the exercise right away. Just do that visualization for a while, and then when you think you have it, then try actually implementing, and hopefully you will go, oh, cool, I'm able to do that. Or you'll go, all right, I can see it in my head, but I still can't quite translate it into my body. And that's fine, okay? Again, sometimes we have to take time to build up to where we want to be on a particular exercise. And as long as we know what the safe modifications are to do, then that's great, all right? We do not have to be doing the absolute perfect form of every exercise immediately upon trying it. And in fact, frequently, we will not be able to. Frequently, we have to take some time to really figure out how to do an exercise correctly, particularly something like this, which has a lot of moving parts and requires a lot of isolation of movement. What I mean by that is I have to be able to move my rib cage without moving any other parts of my body, or I have to be able to move my hips without moving any other parts of my body. So, if you don't have a strong sense of how to isolate different areas of your body, then this is going to be a tricky exercise for you, okay? And that's totally fine. That is totally fine. Some exercises are easier for us to pick up than others. And it's so dependent on the person, dependent on what your experience is movement-wise, dependent on how I describe an exercise and whether that particular communication style makes sense to you. Communication is a tricky business, my friends, and we frequently have to try a bunch of different things before we figure out what styles work for us, okay? When I was still in corporate America, I took a communication workshop one time, and there was an exercise that we did that I've never forgotten, where we paired up and two people sat back to back, and one person had a piece of paper with a bunch of rectangles arranged in a pattern, and the other person had a bunch of index cards. And the person with the paper had to describe where to put each of the index cards so that that person would be able to recreate the pattern. And so we would watch pairs do this, and we would see the points where things started to go off the rails in the design, and you'd be able to go, oh, I totally understand why this person described this shaping and this orientation this way, and I totally understand why this person heard it a different way and set the index card up that way. And you just get to see these moments where one person thinks they are speaking very clearly, and they are, and the other person is misinterpreting, but in a very understandable way, and that stuck with me. So if I'm ever describing an exercise, I know it's tricky on Twitch, but if I'm ever describing an exercise to you and you're just really struggling to understand what I am trying to get at, shoot me a question in chat, and I will see if I can find a different way to come at the exercise to hopefully clarify it. Because there's, sometimes I can be saying things as clearly as I think I can, and It's just not quite working for the person listening to me. And that's no fault of either of us. It's just one of the confusions of communication. All right. We are going to do 2 or 3 more of these, I think. Woo. Okay. I want us to, oh, golly, my poor shoulder. I'm not going to do a ton of these, but I want you to do mountain climbers for me, single leg mountain climbers. So we start in our nice plank position, shoulders directly over the wrists, and we're driving one knee towards the chest, then the other, and you have to be maintaining that plank position the whole time. So if you feel your butt going up in the air and you feel yourself pushing back from your hands, then you need to push that butt down, re-engage the shoulders, and make sure that you are staying really strong and stable in that position, all right? All right, back on your mats and get ready. Get ready to stop. Hey, stopping time. Wait, no, we're just getting started. Yeah, I'm probably not going to join on this one just because I really need to take it a little easier on my shoulder today. It is not pleased, and I need to honor that. I'm always telling you to listen to the signals that your body is sending, so I definitely have to do the same thing. But it's okay. You know what you're about. I have complete confidence in you. You have been rocking this entire cardio class, getting a little bit extra energy, which is exactly why we do this class on Wednesdays, so that we can get that pick-me-up to carry us through the rest of the week and really help us to go, okay, I can make it through the rest of this week. I have got that energy boost. I've got that power and that strength. I've got that sense of what a badass I am. Like, these are all really great feelings to take with us from the midweek through to the weekend. So I'm always happy to see you all here on Wednesdays, because this is definitely one of my favorite classes. And hopefully it's one of yours too, or you wouldn't keep showing up here. Oh my goodness. All right. Everybody's doing a great job. So this is one of those exercises that tells you really quickly whether you need to build more strength and stability on your shoulders. All right. This exercise will tell you almost immediately, in the same way that the slow leg lower exercise that I do in other classes tells us almost immediately if we need to be doing more work to strengthen our cores. This exercise tells us almost immediately if we need to be doing more work to strengthen our shoulders. Because if you're here and you start from that really nice plank, but then as you're moving, you start pushing back, or you just really feel tired and you have to come down and stop for a second. These are signs that we don't have a ton of stamina built in to our shoulders right now. And, that is something that we can work on. That is something that can be improved. It's not just, shoulders are just difficult to strengthen. You can absolutely strengthen your shoulders, and you can do it using minimal equipment, using mostly body weight stuff or resistance bands, okay? So don't ever let your brain convince you that you're not going to be able to strengthen your shoulders up, because you are. And it's really important, because when we're carrying things, when we're trying to manage a lot of heavy weight, we don't want our shoulders to be just pulling around willy-nilly. We want to make sure that we have them fully under control and that they are not going anywhere, okay? All right, my friends, this is your last set. last set. So I want you to dig deep, find that last bit of mountain climber energy, and just give me all you got here, okay? We're gonna have at least one more set, one more Tabata set before we come to a stop today. So don't use up all the rest of your energy, but just make sure that you are ending on a high note. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, here we are. Okay. How's everybody feeling? How's everybody feeling? I'm feeling pretty good, I think. I'm feeling pretty good. I am definitely happy to be here. Happy that I'm over halfway through my water, let me tell you that. And we can do a little bit of stretching at the end of class, which is always a good way to end class. I do try to do at least a couple of stretches at the end of each class because it's a very good habit to be in, to help us cool down, stretch out, and just take care of our muscles because they've been doing really great work taking care of us. So try and stick around for the stretching sequences. It's not always possible, I recognize. You are busy people with your own lives, but it is a really important part, just as important as the warm-up is that cool down process. So, and stretching is very much a part of that. So do try and stick around for the stretches. It doesn't usually go for too long. So, it's not adding that much time onto stream, but we're having a good time here, aren't we? Aren't we? Yeah! Yeah! All right, my loves, let's do one more set and let's make it burpees. You know them, you love them. We did them in the warm-up. Make sure your elbows stay right by your sides when you do that wave push-up, and make sure you do that nice big victory clap up at the top, okay? And this is going to round us out, and then we'll do a few stretches down on the floor as an awesome way to close out class. But now we are starting in on our final Tabata, which means all that energy that you have been saving up, that you've been parceling out over the course of class, now is the time to leave it all on the mat. All right, here we go. I very nearly started doing turtle burpees, which is not what I want you all to do, so hopefully nobody else started doing that. And if you did, don't worry, because I almost did the same. All right. So again, we're checking in on form, because even though this is the final Tabata of class, even though we've been working really hard and are probably feeling a little bit worn out, a little bit fatigued, we still need to make sure that our foundation is solid, that our form is solid. All right, so let's make sure that we're doing those check-ins each time we go through a 20-second set of our burpees here. We are checking in with ourselves and making sure that we are doing the exercise correctly. So wave push-up, not a plank push-up, but jumping back to that plank position before we start that wave. Nice big victory clap up at the top as we jump off the mat. And again, keeping those elbows in by the sides as we do those push-ups. All right, my puzzle pieces are coming apart, but what else is new? Absolutely nothing. Oh man, my friends, what a day, what a week, what a year this is. I warned y'all yesterday that I was going to be feeling real introspective for much of this month. And yeah, it's absolutely true. You know, we've all been through a lot of things, you know, both personally and on the broader scale. You know, we've had breakups, we've come to new realizations about sexuality or gender identity. We have lost friends and family members to a deadly pandemic. We have had our eyes opened regarding the terrible disease of white supremacy in this country. We have lost jobs, or maybe gained jobs, you know, maybe because, yeah, we found other good things too. Maybe you've, you know, started a new relationship, or had a baby, or found a new job, or found a new purpose in life, something that you're really excited about. And you should be able to celebrate those things just as much as we are grieving for the things that didn't happen, or the ways that the world isn't fair and isn't just. And, you know, it's hard to feel steady in a year like this, but you are here, you are taking this very active step to take care of yourself and strengthen yourself so that you can get out there and do everything else that you need to do. And you should be incredibly proud of yourself, because I'm proud of you. Oh, all right. Yes. Well done, everybody. All right. Grab a little water if you need to, and then join me on your mat for some stretches. We're going to start with some twists. So start on your back, and I want you to hug both knees into your chest. And just rock back and forth for a second. Getting our heart rate down, getting our breath back under control. And now we're going to extend one leg on the floor, all right? So it's lying on the floor. I'm going to take the knee that's still up, and I am going to bring it across my body, all right? So I now have this awesome twist in my back. I want you to make sure that your shoulders are both still flat against the ground. One of the ways you can do that is by turning your head to look away from that knee, all right? So have it look in the opposite direction. That will help you to keep that back shoulder on the floor in the same way that your front shoulder is. And we are going to take 4 deep breaths in this position, all right? And just really, you may feel some popping in your spine, a nice amateur chiropractic adjustment. But let's take those 4 deep breaths. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. Look back up at the ceiling. Bring that knee back into the chest, other knee to meet it. Rock back and forth a little bit more. And now we're going to do the other side. So one leg extended straight along the floor. The knee brought across the body for that nice big twist. Looking away from the knee to help keep both shoulders flat on the floor. Oh yeah, just sort of sink into that twist to start with, before we even start those breaths. And just feel that nice twist. And now we're going to take our 4 deep breaths. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. All right. Both knees into the chest again. Just roll back and forth a little bit. And then roll both your knees over to one side so you're in this little fetal position. Push yourself up from there. And let's sit on our mats, bring the soles of our feet together, okay? And we're going to fold over our feet, but the way we want to do that so that we can bring our lower back closer in and deepen the stretch in the hips. So take a flat back position and walk it forward slowly as far as you can. And when you don't feel like you can go any farther, let the upper back curve over, and that will help gravity then push that lower back down a little bit. It'll just help deepen the stretch. I'm going to take my glasses off because in these fold positions, I tend to be smooshing my face against things. So take that flat back, walk your hands forward as far as you can, then let that upper back curve over. All right, and just feel that nice deep stretch in your hips. And let's take 4 deep breaths, okay? Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. All right. And back up. And I think that we're good. Yeah. Yeah. Well, my friends, that was an excellent midweek pick-me-up. I think that was exactly what I needed it to be, and I hope that you had fun as well. Thanks for letting me improvise. It's nice to do that every once in a while, you know. It's good going into class with a plan, too. But sometimes you're just like, I want to be a rebel. I just want to sort of go where the winds take me. And I appreciate your coming on that journey with me. All right, drinking that water, important. I'm on a hydration kick, clearly. All right, my loves. Well, we had a good class. We talked a lot, very honestly and openly, about how our brains are doing. And, you know, there needs to be more of that in the world. So I do want to always do what I can to normalize having those conversations about mental health and about how it impacts our physical health, because it has huge impacts, and just trying to ignore it and go la 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 la, I can't hear you, does more harm than good. So, you know, just check in with your brain in the way that we're trying to check in with our bodies, and when it's trying to send you signals, pay attention to them, okay? It's important. It's not always easy, but, you know, again, just because we're not perfect at something right off the bat doesn't mean we stop trying at it, okay? Oh, all right, my friends. There are 2 more classes this week. On Friday at 6 p.m. Mountain, we've got Functional Home Fitness, where we do our weight training using objects you can find around the house. And then Saturday at 9 a.m. is the weekend kickoff, our awesome strength and stamina focused body weight class. So definitely head on back to the channel for those classes. They're always a good time. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All of those handles will be in my end cards, but they are all variations on Blanche Case Fitness. My YouTube channel is where I upload the VODs from these streams and where a lot of additional supplemental materials are going to go. So head over there and subscribe if that's your jam. If you want to help support me financially making these streams, I do have a coffee account, Blanche Case Fitness. Your donations are always very much appreciated. And if you want to help me keep growing this channel, then please make sure to give it a follow. Make sure to tell your friends, loved ones, coworkers, anybody looking for an awesome bodyweight class. Most of the time bodyweight class. I stream 4 days a week, and we have a great time here. So keep taking care of yourselves. Stay safe and healthy. Please quarantine as much as you are able to, and when you are not able to, please take all of the important precautions. Wear that mask. Always have a mask on before you ever step foot outside your door, all right? And if you don't have a mask with you, don't go inside a place of business. Make sure you're washing your hands when you get home. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure you're taking care of others. This is going to be a wild finish to 2020, and there's going to be a lot more fun to come in 2021. So we need to be caring for ourselves and each other as much as we can. So wash your hands, wear a mask, keep coming to class, and I'll see y'all back here on Friday. Mwah. Have a great night.